High impact, low complexity. The 15 most valuable AI use cases for mid-market companies. The implementation gap, moving from AI awareness to action. The business world finds itself at a curious inflection point. While conversations about AI's transformative potential echo through every boardroom and business publication, a stark implementation gap persists, particularly among mid-market companies. We've collectively reached a stage of AI awareness, but the journey toward meaningful implementation remains elusive for many. Recent studies paint a revealing picture. While 83% of mid-market executives acknowledge AI's strategic importance, only 23% have moved beyond experimentation to actual implementation. This disconnect isn't due to skepticism about AI's potential, but rather a form of option paralysis. With hundreds of possible applications, companies struggle to identify where to begin. The challenge is exacerbated by the prevailing narrative around AI, which often emphasizes either broad, revolutionary changes that seem overwhelming to implement, or narrowly technical applications that fail to demonstrate clear business value. As one client recently confided, "We know AI is important, but every path forward seems to require expertise we don't have or investments we can't justify." This gap between awareness and action represents not just a technological challenge, but a strategic one. How to move from understanding AI's importance to implementing it in ways that create meaningful value while preserving what makes your organization uniquely human. The mid-market advantage. Despite these challenges, mid-market companies, typically with 25 to 250 employees, possess several distinct advantages when it comes to AI implementation. Where enterprise organizations often struggle with bureaucratic complexity and legacy system integration, mid-market companies benefit from a nimbleness that can accelerate AI adoption. First, there's the agility factor. With shorter decision-making chains and fewer organizational layers, mid-market companies can move from initial concept to implementation significantly faster. Changes that might take quarters or years in enterprise environments can often be accomplished in weeks or months. Second, mid-market companies typically have simpler technological ecosystems. With fewer legacy systems and less technical debt, integration challenges are reduced. Many mid-market organizations have already migrated to cloud-based platforms like Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, creating a natural foundation for AI implementation through platforms like Copilot or Gemini. Perhaps most importantly, there's the human element. The proximity between leadership and frontline teams creates natural alignment around AI initiatives. When executive vision and day-to-day operations exist in closer harmony, AI implementation becomes less about technological disruption and more about collective enhancement of capabilities. Learning from industry leaders, scaling for mid-market. Google Cloud's compilation of one real-world generative AI use cases from industry leaders offers valuable insights, though many are implemented at enterprise scale. The good news? These same capabilities are increasingly accessible to mid-market companies, often requiring less complexity and investment than just a year ago. While companies like UPS, Samsung, and Citi have the resources to build custom AI solutions, mid-market companies can now leverage similar capabilities through accessible platforms and pre-built solutions. The key is translating these enterprise-scale implementations into right-sized applications that address mid-market challenges without enterprise-level complexity. Our curation of the 15 most valuable use cases takes inspiration from these industry leaders, but focuses specifically on implementations that are accessible, practical, and impactful for mid-market organizations. We've distilled the essence of what's working at scale and adapted it to the unique context of companies with more limited resources but greater agility. A human-centered approach to AI selection. This article offers a thoughtfully curated selection of 15 AI use cases specifically chosen for their relevance to mid-market companies. Rather than presenting an overwhelming catalog of possibilities, we've applied a rigorous selection methodology focused on 4 key criteria. Implementation. Complexity. Each use case has been evaluated based on technical requirements, integration challenges, and data needs to identify those most accessible to mid-market organizations. Time to value. We've prioritized applications that deliver measurable results quickly, typically within 2 to 10 weeks rather than months or years. Resource requirements. Each use case has been assessed for its people, technology, and financial requirements, with emphasis on those leveraging existing capabilities. Business impact. We've focused on applications with clear, demonstrable impact on revenue, efficiency, customer experience, or competitive advantage. Crucially, these use cases are organized by business function: marketing, sales, customer service, operations, HR, finance, and strategic planning, allowing you to identify the most relevant opportunities for your specific organizational needs. But perhaps most importantly, each use case has been filtered through a distinctly human-centered lens. Our focus is not on automation that replaces human judgment, but augmentation that amplifies it. We believe the most valuable AI implementations are those that maintain humans at the center, enhancing rather than diminishing the capabilities that make your organization unique. Selection criteria: finding the right starting points, the evaluation framework. Selecting the right AI starting points requires a structured approach that balances technical feasibility with business value. Our four-factor evaluation framework provides a consistent method for assessing potential AI use cases. Implementation. Complexity measures the technical barriers to successful deployment. This includes technical infrastructure requirements: hardware, software, cloud services. Integration complexity with existing systems: data prerequisites, availability, quality, accessibility. Specialized expertise needed for implementation. We've rated each use case on a 1/5 scale, where 1 represents minimal technical complexity, often using built-in AI capabilities of existing platforms, and I represents substantial complexity requiring specialized expertise. Time to value addresses the critical question: how quickly will this implementation deliver measurable results? Rather than focusing on initiatives that might deliver theoretical value in the distant future, we've prioritized use cases with rapid time to value, typically within quick wins, 1 to 4 weeks; short term, 4 to 8 weeks; medium term, 8 to 12 weeks. This focus on rapid results helps build organizational momentum and confidence in AI initiatives, creating fertile ground for more ambitious implementations months later. Resource requirements. Evaluates what's needed beyond technology itself, including people requirements, existing team members versus new hires. Financial investment, both initial and ongoing. Management attention and governance. Training and change management needs. We've emphasized use cases that leverage existing resources where possible, minimizing the need for specialized hires or significant additional investment. Business impact assesses the tangible value created across multiple dimensions. Revenue impact, direct or indirect. Efficiency and cost savings. Customer experience enhancement. Employee experience and capability development. Competitive differentiation. Risk reduction. Each selected use case delivers meaningful impact in at least 2 of these dimensions, ensuring that implementation efforts translate to tangible business outcomes. The human-centered filter, mindful prompting in practice. Beyond these 4 criteria, we've applied an additional filter that's central to our philosophy at Bosio. Digital, the human-centered lens. Each selected use case maintains human expertise at the center of the process, following our principle that AI should enhance human capabilities rather than replace them. This means preserving human creative sovereignty and decision-making, shifting human focus from routine to higher-value activities, augmenting rather than automating human judgment, ensuring humans remain the bearers of responsibility and authenticity. This approach aligns with our mindful prompting framework, which emphasizes intentional, purpose-driven interaction with AI tools. By maintaining this human-centered focus, organizations can implement AI in ways that strengthen their distinctive capabilities rather than standardizing or diminishing them. While industry leaders like those featured in Google's 101 use cases often have dedicated AI teams, mid-market companies must be particularly intentional about preserving human expertise in their AI implementations. The mindful prompting approach provides a practical framework for maintaining human centrality, even with limited AI expertise. Technology considerations. Enterprise platforms for mid-market applications. Many mid-market companies assume AI implementation requires specialized platforms or significant technology investments. In reality, many high-value use cases can be implemented using AI capabilities already embedded in common business platforms. Microsoft 365 Copilot provides AI capabilities across document generation and analysis, Word, PowerPoint, data analysis and visualization, Excel, meeting transcription and summarization, Teams, email composition and management, Outlook. Google Workspace Gemini offers similar capabilities within document creation and editing, Docs, Slides, data analysis, Sheets, communication tools, Gmail, Meet, collaborative workspaces, Drive. These foundation platforms can address many of the use cases we'll explore, often requiring minimal additional investment. For specialized needs, specialized platforms may be necessary, but we've generally favored use cases that can leverage existing technology investments where possible. Google Cloud's showcase of 101 generative AI use cases demonstrates that while many enterprise implementations involve custom development, a growing number leverage these same foundation platforms that are accessible to mid-market companies. This democratization of AI capabilities means mid-market organizations can now implement similar use cases at appropriate scale without enterprise-level investment. Marketing and sales use cases. 1. Personalized customer communication automation. Business problem solved. Generic, slow customer communications that fail to engage and convert. For many mid-market companies, customer communications represent a persistent challenge. Personalization requires time most teams don't have, yet generic messaging delivers diminishing returns. Marketing teams find themselves choosing between quality and quantity, often sacrificing both in the process. Implementation. Complexity, low medium, 3, 5. This implementation typically leverages existing CRM data and communication platforms, with AI enhancing rather than replacing current workflows. Technical requirements include CRM system with accessible customer data, communication platform, email, social, web, templates reflecting brand voice, AI tools for content generation, often available through Microsoft Copilot or similar platforms. Time to value, 4-6 weeks. Most organizations see measurable improvements within the first month of implementation, with full benefits realized by week 6. This timeline includes week 1-2, template development and data preparation, week 3-4, initial implementation and testing, week 5-6, refinement and scaling. Key requirements: clean, accessible CRM data on customer segments and behaviors, communication templates that reflect brand positioning, clear brand voice guidelines and messaging strategy, integration between AI tools and communication platforms. Expected outcomes: 40 to 60% reduction in communication creation time, allowing for more frequent touchpoints. Increased engagement rates of 15-25% through enhanced personalization. More consistent brand voice across channels and customer segments. Faster response to market changes and customer needs. Human-centered implementation. Rather than automating communications entirely, this approach maintains marketers in a creative director role. Marketing professionals focus on strategy, messaging architecture, and creative direction, while AI handles execution details and adaptations. This preserves the strategic and creative elements that differentiate your brand while eliminating time-consuming production tasks. The implementation follows a human-in-the-loop model where marketers define communication strategy and key messages. AI generates personalized variations maintaining brand voice. Humans review, refine, and approve content before deployment. Performance data informs future strategy and message refinement. Mid-market application of enterprise success. While enterprise companies like Capgemini, featured in Google's use cases, implement sophisticated AI agents for customer communication at scale, mid-market companies can achieve similar benefits with more accessible implementations. The core capability, using AI to personalize communications based on customer data, remains the same, but implementation can leverage existing platforms rather than custom development. Getting started. Begin by auditing your current customer communications and identifying segments where personalization would create the greatest value. Document your brand voice and communication guidelines. Then pilot the approach with a single communication type, e.g., welcome emails or product announcements, before expanding to additional channels. 2. Content generation and optimization. Business problem solved, content creation bottlenecks, and inconsistent performance. Content has become a critical business asset, yet most mid-market companies struggle to produce sufficient high-quality content across multiple channels. The result is inconsistent publishing schedules, content gaps, and missed opportunities to engage prospects and customers throughout their journey. Implementation. Complexity. Low, 2.5. This use case typically utilizes readily available AI writing and optimization tools, which can integrate with existing content platforms. The technical barriers are minimal, with implementation focusing more on process integration than complex technology. Time to value, 2 to 4 weeks. Organizations typically see immediate productivity gains, with quality and performance improvements following within a month as the process is refined. Key requirements. Content strategy with defined topics, audiences, and goals. Brand guidelines and tone of voice documentation. Performance metrics for existing content. AI writing tools, e.g., Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, specialized writing platforms. Editorial process for review and publication. Expected outcomes: 3 to 4x increase in content production capacity. Improved SEO performance through AI-assisted optimization. Consistent quality and messaging across more channels. Ability to address content gaps in the customer journey. More time for strategic thinking and creative differentiation. Human-centered implementation. This approach maintains human editorial leadership while scaling production capacity. Content strategists and subject matter experts focus on unique insights, strategic positioning, and creative direction, while AI handles content expansion, formatting, and optimization tasks. The workflow typically follows this pattern. Humans develop core ideas, key points, and strategic positioning. AI expands these concepts into full content pieces in various formats. Human editors review, refine, and approve content, preserving voice and accuracy. AI assists with optimization for search and readability. Performance data informs future content strategy. This preserves what makes your content distinctive, your unique perspective, expertise, and voice, while eliminating production bottlenecks. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's 101 use cases highlight how major retailers and marketing agencies leverage generative AI for content creation at scale. Mid-market companies can implement similar capabilities using accessible platforms rather than custom solutions. The democratization of these tools through Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 means companies of all sizes can now benefit from AI-enhanced content creation. Getting started. Begin by documenting your content strategy and brand guidelines. Identify content types that would benefit most from AI assistance, typically high-volume, format-driven content like product descriptions, blog posts, or social media updates. Start with a single content type, refine the process, then expand to additional formats. 3. Sales intelligence and opportunity prioritization. Business problem solved, inefficient opportunity targeting, and sales resource allocation. Sales teams often struggle with two contradictory challenges: too many leads to pursue effectively, yet insufficient pipeline to meet targets. Without clear prioritization, salespeople spend valuable time on low-potential opportunities while missing higher-value prospects, resulting in missed targets and unpredictable revenue. Implementation. Complexity, medium, 3 of 5. This implementation requires integration with CRM systems and sales process documentation, but can typically leverage existing data. The complexity comes from defining and implementing prioritization rules rather than the technology itself. Time to value, 6 to 8 weeks. While some benefits appear immediately, the full value emerges as the system learns from outcomes and refines its prioritization over 1-2 sales cycles. Key requirements: clean CRM data with opportunity history, documented sales process and stages, historical win-loss data with contributing factors, integration between AI tools and CRM, salespeople open to data-driven prioritization. Expected outcomes: 15 to 25% increase in win rates through better targeting, 20-30% reduction in sales cycle length, more effective allocation of sales resources to high-potential opportunities, improved forecast accuracy, reduced variation in individual sales performance, human-centered implementation. Rather than having AI make sales decisions, this approach provides enhanced intelligence to salespeople, who maintain ownership of relationship development and closing strategies. The human-AI collaboration typically works as follows. AI analyzes opportunity characteristics against historical patterns. System provides prioritization recommendations with supporting rationale. Salespeople apply their judgment and relationship knowledge to these insights. Sales leaders maintain visibility into both AI recommendations and human decisions. Outcomes feed back into the system to improve future recommendations. This approach enhances rather than replaces sales judgment, allowing salespeople to focus their expertise on relationship development and deal crafting rather than manual opportunity analysis. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's use cases showcase how major financial institutions and retail companies use AI to accelerate sales cycles through intelligent opportunity prioritization. The mid-market version leverages similar principles but implements them through existing CRM platforms rather than building custom AI solutions. This brings enterprise-level sales intelligence capabilities to mid-market organizations at a fraction of the cost and complexity. Getting started. Begin by analyzing your historical win-loss data to identify patterns and success factors. Document your current opportunity evaluation process and criteria. Start with a simple scoring model for new opportunities based on historical success factors, then progressively incorporate more sophisticated analysis as you gather more data. 4. Competitive intelligence automation. Business problem solved. Manual, time-consuming competitive research with limited scope. Staying current on competitor activities is essential but enormously time-consuming. Most mid-market companies resort to sporadic competitive research that provide this incomplete, outdated intelligence. This creates blind spots in strategy and sales enablement. Implementation, complexity, medium, 3-5. This implementation requires defining information sources and analysis frameworks, but can leverage existing business intelligence tools and public data sources. Time to value, 4 to 6 weeks. Initial intelligence gathering benefits appear immediately, with more sophisticated analysis developing over 1 to 2 months as patterns emerge. Key requirements: defined competitor list and key information needs. Information sources: websites, news, social media, etc. Analysis framework for competitive positioning. AI tools for data gathering and analysis. Integration with knowledge management systems. Expected outcomes: 70 to 80% reduction in manual research time. More comprehensive competitive intelligence. Faster identification of competitive moves and market changes. Improved sales enablement with current competitive comparisons. More informed product and service development. Human-centered implementation. This approach automates information gathering and preliminary analysis while preserving human strategic interpretation. Competitive intelligence specialists focus on implications and strategic recommendations rather than manual data collection. AI continuously monitors defined information sources. System extracts relevant competitive information and identifies changes. Initial analysis highlights significant developments and patterns. Human analysts focus on implications, strategic response, and sales enablement. Strategic insights inform product, marketing, and sales strategies. By automating routine monitoring and data extraction, human analysts can focus on the higher-level thinking that creates strategic advantage. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's industry use cases show how companies like Prewave use AI for end-to-end monitoring of market conditions and competitive environments. Mid-market companies can implement similar capabilities by narrowing the scope to specific competitors and market segments, rather than attempting comprehensive coverage. This focused approach delivers high-value intelligence without enterprise-level resources. Getting started. Define your competitor set and the specific information needs for different functional areas: sales, marketing, product development. Identify reliable information sources for each competitor and category. Implement monitoring for a subset of high-priority competitors first, then expand coverage as the process proves valuable. 5. Marketing campaign optimization. Business problem solved. Suboptimal campaign performance and slow optimization cycles. Marketing teams often launch campaigns based on historical performance and intuition, then wait weeks or months to gather sufficient data for optimization. This creates extended periods of suboptimal performance and inefficient budget allocation. Implementation. Complexity, medium, 3, 5. This implementation requires integration with marketing platforms and analytics tools, with complexity varying based on the number of channels and campaigns being optimized. Time to value, 6 to 8 weeks. Initial optimization benefits appear after the first campaign cycle, with increasing value as the system gathers more performance data across multiple campaigns. Key requirements. Campaign performance data across channels. Clearly defined KPIs and success metrics. Testing framework for validating optimizations. Integration with marketing automation platforms. Process for implementing recommendations. Expected outcomes. 15 to 30% improvement in overall campaign performance. Faster optimization cycles, days instead of weeks. More efficient budget allocation across channels and audiences. Earlier identification of high-performing creative and messaging. Reduced performance variation across campaigns. Human-centered implementation. This approach preserves marketer creativity and strategic direction while accelerating the optimization process. Marketers define strategic objectives and creative approach, while AI accelerates the testing and refinement process. Marketers develop campaign strategy, messaging, and creative concepts. AI analyzes early performance indicators and recommends optimizations. System continuously tests variations to identify top performers. Marketers review recommendations and apply judgment to implementation. Learnings from each campaign inform future strategic decisions. This collaboration allows marketers to focus on creative differentiation and strategic positioning, while AI handles the data-intensive process of performance optimization. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's one-to-one use cases highlight how major brands like Uber and Samsung implement AI-driven marketing optimization at scale. Mid-market companies can apply similar approaches by focusing on their highest-value marketing channels, rather than attempting comprehensive coverage. By narrowing the scope to specific campaigns or channels, mid-market organizations can achieve comparable optimization benefits with more accessible implementations. Getting started. Begin by defining clear success metrics for your campaigns and ensuring you have accurate tracking in place. Document your current optimization process and cycle time. Start with a single channel or campaign type, implement continuous monitoring and recommendation generation, then expand to additional campaigns as you validate the approach. Customer service and support use cases. 6. Intelligent ticket routing and prioritization. Business problem solved. Inefficient support ticket handling and inconsistent response times. Many support teams struggle with manual ticket assignment that fails to match customer needs with agent expertise. This creates bottlenecks, inconsistent response times, and unnecessarily escalated issues, damaging both customer experience and team efficiency. Implementation. Complexity. Low medium, 3, 5. This implementation typically works with existing ticketing systems, adding an intelligence layer that improves routing decisions. Complexity varies based on the sophistication of your ticketing platform and the number of routing rules needed. Time to value, 4-6 weeks. Initial routing improvements appear within the first week, with continuous refinement as the system learns from outcomes over the following month. Key requirements: historical ticket data with resolution information, defined service level agreements and priority definitions, agent skills matrix and availability data, integration with ticketing system, process for handling exceptions and escalations. Expected outcomes: I'd rate a 50% reduction in average response times. More consistent customer experience across interactions. Better utilization of specialized support skills. Reduced ticket backlog and fewer escalations. Improved agent satisfaction through better workload balancing. Human-centered implementation. Rather than removing humans from the support process, this approach enhances agent effectiveness by better matching issues to expertise. The workflow typically follows this pattern. AI analyzes incoming tickets for content, complexity, and urgency. System matches ticket characteristics to agent skills and current workload. Tickets are routed to appropriate agents with relevant context highlighted. Agents maintain ability to reroute or escalate as needed. Resolution outcomes feed back into the system to improve future routing. This approach focuses agents on problem-solving rather than triage, allowing them to apply their expertise more effectively while reducing time spent on administrative tasks. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's use cases showcase how Accenture employs AI virtual assistants for customer support to improve engagement and satisfaction. Mid-market companies can implement similar intelligence in their support operations through existing ticketing systems rather than building custom AI assistants. By focusing on intelligent routing and prioritization first, mid-market organizations establish the foundation for more advanced support automation in the future. Getting started. Begin by analyzing your historical ticket data to identify patterns in issue types, resolution times, and escalation factors. Document your current routing rules and agent skill sets. Implement a basic version of intelligent routing for a subset of common ticket types, then expand coverage as you validate the approach. 7. Knowledge base enhancement and maintenance. Business problem solved. Outdated or incomplete self-service information leading to unnecessary support contacts. Knowledge bases often suffer from a maintenance paradox. The busier the support team, the less time they have to update documentation, leading to outdated information that generates even more support contacts. This creates a negative cycle that drains support resources. Implementation. Complexity, low, 2.5. This implementation typically works with existing knowledge management systems with minimal technical complexity. The focus is on process integration rather than complex technology deployment. Time to value, 2-4 weeks. Initial improvements in knowledge-based coverage appear immediately, with increasing value as the system identifies and addresses more information gaps over time. Key requirements. Existing knowledge-based content. Customer query data from tickets, chat, and search. Subject matter experts for review and approval. AI tools for content generation and gap analysis. Integration with knowledge management platform. Expected outcomes: 25 to 40% increase in self-service resolution rate. Reduced repeat tickets for common issues. More comprehensive and current knowledge resources. Higher customer satisfaction with self-service options. Reduced support. Team workload for routine questions. Human-centered implementation. This approach maintains subject matter experts as the authority on support content while automating the identification of gaps and initial content creation. AI analyzes customer interactions to identify knowledge gaps and outdated content. System generates draft content or updates for identified gaps. Subject matter experts review, refine, and approve content changes. Updated content is published to knowledge base. Ongoing analysis tracks content effectiveness and identifies new gaps. By focusing human expertise on validation rather than initial creation, this approach dramatically accelerates knowledge base improvement while maintaining accuracy and voice consistency. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's industry use cases demonstrate how major banking and telecommunications companies create comprehensive AI-driven knowledge bases. Mid-market companies can achieve similar results at appropriate scale by focusing first on their highest volume support topics rather than attempting complete knowledge base overhauls. This focused approach delivers maximum value with limited resources. Getting started. Begin by analyzing your most common support tickets, chat conversations, and knowledge-based searches to identify gaps in current documentation. Prioritize topics based on volume and impact. Implement a process for drafting content for high-priority gaps, having subject matter experts review and approve, then measuring the impact on related support volumes. 8. Conversation summarization and analysis. Business problem solved. Limited insights from customer interactions and time-consuming documentation. Customer conversations contain valuable insights that often remain trapped in individual interactions. Support agents spend significant time documenting conversations, yet the resulting notes typically capture only basic outcomes rather than deeper patterns and sentiment. Implementation. Complexity, low, 2 to 5. This implementation works with existing conversation data, chat logs, call transcripts, email threads, and can often utilize built-in AI capabilities of communication platforms. Time to value, 2-4 weeks. Immediate time savings appear for conversation documentation, with more sophisticated insight generation developing over the first month of implementation. Key requirements: conversation transcripts or logs, categorization framework for insights, integration with communication platforms, process for sharing and acting on insights, connection to customer records and CRM. Expected outcomes: 60–80% reduction in agent documentation time, better identification of customer sentiment and emerging issues, more actionable insights for product and service improvements, improved knowledge transfer between support team members, enhanced visibility into customer experience patterns. Human-centered implementation. This approach enhances rather than replaces agent judgment by automating routine documentation while preserving human interpretation of nuanced customer needs. AI analyzes conversations in real time or post-interaction. System generates comprehensive summaries with categorized insights. Agents review, refine, and add context to automated summaries. Aggregated insights are shared with product, marketing, and leadership teams. Patterns inform strategic decisions and proactive customer engagement. By handling the mechanical aspects of documentation, this approach allows agents to focus their attention on customer needs during conversations, while still capturing rich insights for business improvement. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's showcase includes how McKinsey and Google Cloud partner to deliver highly personalized customer service in financial services. Mid-market companies can implement similar conversation intelligence capabilities through platforms like Google Workspace or Microsoft Teams, which now offer built-in summarization and insight extraction. This makes enterprise-level conversation intelligence accessible to mid-market organizations without custom development. Getting started. Begin by defining the key information you want to extract from customer conversations: issues, sentiment, feature requests, etc. Identify your most common conversation channels and ensure you have access to the necessary data. Start with post-conversation analysis of a single channel, refine the process, then expand to additional channels and real-time analysis. Operations and HR use cases. 9. Document processing and information extraction. Business problem solved. Manual document handling and inefficient information extraction. Many operational processes remain bottlenecked by manual document handling, from invoices and purchase orders to contracts and forms. This creates delays, inconsistency, and unnecessary administrative burden that diverts resources from higher value activities. Implementation complexity medium 3 to 5. This implementation typically requires integration with document management systems and workflow tools, with complexity varying based on document types and downstream processes. Time to value 6-8 weeks. Initial automation benefits appear for standardized documents within the first month, with handling of exceptions and variations developing over the following weeks. Key requirements: representative document samples across variations, defined extraction rules and validation criteria, workflow integration points for processed information, exception handling process, AI tools with document processing capabilities. Expected outcomes: 70 to 90% reduction in manual processing time, improved accuracy and consistency in extracted information, faster document turnaround and reduced backlogs, ability to handle higher document volumes without adding staff, better compliance with processing standards and requirements. Human-centered implementation. Rather than eliminating human oversight, this approach shifts human focus from routine processing to exception handling and process improvement. AI analyzes incoming documents and extracts structured information. System validates information against business rules and historical patterns. Standard documents are processed automatically while exceptions are flagged. Humans handle complex cases requiring judgment or additional context. Outcomes from exception handling improve future processing capabilities. This maintains humans as the final authority on document processing while eliminating the routine work that often comprises 80 to 90% of document volume. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's 101 use cases highlight how Truckhouse accelerates inventory tracking using Google's AI integration with Sheets. Mid-market companies can implement similar document intelligence using tools like Google's Document AI or Microsoft's Azure Form Recognizer, which provide document processing capabilities without the need for custom AI development. This democratization of document intelligence makes enterprise capabilities accessible to mid-market organizations. Getting started. Begin by identifying document types that create processing bottlenecks in your organization. Collect representative samples of each document type, including variations and edge cases. Start with a single document type that offers high volume and standardized format. Implement automated extraction, then expand to additional document types as you validate the approach. 10. Meeting summarization and action item tracking. Business problem solved. Lost information and follow-up from meetings. Meetings represent significant time investments, yet their outputs, decisions, action items, and insights are often incompletely captured or inconsistently tracked. This creates knowledge gaps, missed commitments, and repeated discussions that waste time and create frustration. Implementation. Complexity. Low 1.5. This implementation typically utilizes built-in capabilities of meeting platforms like Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, with minimal technical complexity. Time to value, 1 to 2 weeks. Immediate benefits appear from the first summarized meeting, with increasing value as action item tracking and knowledge management integration develop. Key requirements: meeting recordings or real-time transcription, integration with collaboration platforms, action item tracking system, knowledge repository for meeting insights, process for validating and distributing summaries. Expected outcomes: 80 to 90% reduction in manual note-taking and summarization, improved follow-through on action items, better knowledge retention from meetings, more focused and productive discussions, reduced meeting redundancy. Human-centered implementation. This approach enhances rather than replaces human participation in meetings, allowing participants to focus on the conversation rather than documentation. captures meeting transcripts, and generates structured summaries. System identifies decisions, action items, and key insights. Participants review and refine automated summaries. Action items are assigned and tracked through existing task management systems. Meeting knowledge is organized and made searchable for future reference. By handling the mechanical aspects of meeting documentation, this approach allows participants to be fully present in discussions while creating more comprehensive and actionable records. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's use cases show how major enterprises implement sophisticated meeting intelligence systems. Mid-market companies can achieve similar results through the AI capabilities now built into platforms like Google Workspace and Microsoft 365, which offer meeting transcription, summarization, and action item extraction as standard features. This brings enterprise-level meeting intelligence to mid-market organizations through their existing collaboration platforms. Getting started. Begin by identifying meeting types that would benefit most from improved documentation. Decision-making meetings, project updates, planning sessions. Ensure your meeting platform supports recording or transcription. Start with post-meeting summarization for a single meeting type. Refine the process based on participant feedback. Then expand to additional meeting types and real-time documentation. 11. Process documentation and workflow optimization. Business problem solved. Outdated or incomplete process documentation leading to inconsistency and inefficiency. Many organizations struggle to maintain accurate process documentation, leading to inconsistent execution, difficult onboarding, and missed optimization opportunities. Manual documentation efforts are time-consuming and often abandoned when operational demands increase. Implementation, complexity, medium, 3-5. This implementation typically requires process mining or workflow analysis tools combined with documentation platforms, with complexity varying based on process complexity and existing documentation. Time to value, 6 to 8 weeks. Initial documentation improvements appear within the first month, with optimization opportunities emerging as the system analyzes process execution over the following weeks. Key requirements: process information from subject matter experts, workflow data from operational systems, documentation templates and standards, optimization criteria and constraints, integration with knowledge management systems, expected outcomes, 50 to 70% reduction in process documentation time. More complete and accurate process documentation, identification of bottlenecks and optimization opportunities, faster onboarding and training for new team members, improved process consistency and reduced variation. Human-centered implementation. This approach maintains subject matter experts as the authority on processes while automating the documentation and analysis effort. AI analyzes workflow data and process information. System generates documentation and identifies potential improvements. Subject matter experts validate and refine documentation. Optimization recommendations are reviewed and prioritized by process owners. Implemented improvements are incorporated into updated documentation. By handling the time-consuming aspects of documentation and analysis, this approach allows process experts to focus on validation and improvement rather than manual documentation. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's use cases showcase how UPS builds a digital twin of its distribution network with Google Cloud AI that provides real-time tracking visibility. Mid-market companies can implement similar process intelligence at appropriate scale by focusing on their most critical operational processes, rather than attempting comprehensive coverage. By starting with focused documentation of high-value processes, mid-market organizations create the foundation for broader process optimization. Getting started. Begin by identifying processes that would benefit most from improved documentation and analysis, high volume, customer-facing, or compliance-related processes. Document your current knowledge about these processes and identify data sources that capture actual execution. Start with a single process, Implement documentation and basic analysis, then expand to additional processes as you validate the approach. 12. Candidate screening and matching. Business problem solved. Inefficient initial candidate screening that delays hiring and misses qualified candidates. Initial candidate screening often creates a bottleneck in hiring, with recruiters spending significant time reviewing applications that don't meet basic qualifications while potentially missing qualified candidates in high-volume roles. Implementation complexity, medium-high, 4, 5. This implementation typically requires integration with applicant tracking systems and careful development of screening criteria to avoid bias and ensure compliance with hiring regulations. Time to value, 8 to 10 weeks. Initial screening efficiency improvements appear within the first month, with match quality improvements developing as the system learns from hiring outcomes over subsequent months. Key requirements, detailed job descriptions and requirements, historical candidate profiles and hiring outcomes, success criteria for different roles, integration with applicant tracking system, bias testing and mitigation framework, compliance with relevant hiring regulations. Expected outcomes, 40 to 60% reduction in initial screening time, more consistent candidate evaluation against requirements, improved match quality between candidates and positions, ability to process higher application volumes without delays, better candidate experience through faster response times. Human-centered implementation. This approach enhances recruiter effectiveness rather than removing human judgment from hiring decisions. Analyzes job requirements and candidate qualifications. System screens applications against requirements and ranks potential matches. Recruiters review recommendations and apply additional context and judgment. Hiring managers maintain full authority over interview and selection decisions. Hiring outcomes feed back into the system to improve future matching. By automating the initial screening of clear mismatches and highlighting promising candidates, this approach allows recruiters to focus their expertise on candidate assessment and relationship building rather than administrative filtering. Mid-market application of enterprise success. While Google's use cases focus less on HR applications, mid-market companies can leverage AI recruitment capabilities at appropriate scale by focusing first on high-volume or repetitive roles where clear qualification criteria exist. This targeted approach delivers significant efficiency gains without the complexity of enterprise-wide implementation. Getting started. Begin by analyzing your historical hiring data to identify patterns in successful placements. Document the screening criteria currently used for different role types. Implement automated screening for a single high-volume role type. Monitor outcomes closely and refine the process before expanding to additional roles. Finance and strategic planning use cases. 13. Financial report generation and analysis. Business problem solved. Time-consuming financial reporting that limits analysis and strategic insight. Financial teams often spend most of their time producing reports rather than analyzing them, creating a dynamic where data is plentiful but insight is scarce. This limits the strategic value finance can provide to the organization. Implementation. Complexity, medium, 3, 5. This implementation typically requires integration with financial systems and development of report templates, with complexity varying based on report complexity and data sources. Time to value, 6-8 weeks. Initial time savings appear within the first reporting cycle, with analytical capabilities developing over subsequent cycles as the system identifies patterns and anomalies. Key requirements. Access to financial data systems, report templates and formatting standards, analysis framework and key metrics, integration with business intelligence tools, process for review and distribution. Expected outcomes, 50 to 70% reduction in report generation time, enhanced analysis and insight generation, more consistent reporting across periods, faster identification of trends and anomalies, shift from backward-looking reporting to forward-looking analysis, human-centered implementation, This approach shifts financial professionals from report production to analysis and strategic interpretation. AI extracts and organizes financial data from source systems. System generates standardized reports with preliminary analysis. Financial experts review, refine, and add strategic context. Analysis highlights areas requiring human investigation. Finance team focuses on implications and recommendations. By automating the mechanical aspects of report generation, this approach allows financial professionals to focus on the analytical thinking that creates strategic value. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's use cases highlight how major financial institutions implement AI tools for sophisticated financial analysis. Mid-market companies can achieve similar benefits by focusing on their most time-consuming regular reports rather than attempting comprehensive financial automation. This targeted approach delivers immediate value while building capabilities for broader implementation. Getting started. Begin by documenting your current reporting process and identifying reports that consume significant time while following consistent patterns. Create templates for these reports with clear data sources and calculations. Implement automated generation for a single report type, refine the process based on user feedback, then expand to additional reports. 14. Contract analysis and risk identification. Business problem solved. Slow contract review and inconsistent risk assessment. Contract review often creates bottlenecks in business operations, with legal teams stretched thin and non-legal reviewers missing important clauses or risks. This creates either delays or heightened risk exposure, neither of which serves the organization well. Implementation. Complexity, medium-high, 4-5. This implementation typically requires specialized AI tools for contract analysis and integration with contract management systems, with complexity varying based on contract types and risk factors. Time to value, 8 to 10 weeks. Initial efficiency gains appear within the first month for standard contracts, with risk identification capabilities developing as the system analyzes more contract variations over subsequent months. Key requirements. Representative contract documents across types. Defined risk criteria and clause standards. Legal guidelines for different agreement types. Integration with contract management system. Process for handling exceptions and escalations. Expected outcomes. 60% reduction in contract review time. More consistent risk identification across agreements. Better compliance with legal and regulatory standards. Faster turnaround on routine agreements. Improved risk transparency across the contract portfolio. Human-centered implementation. This approach maintains legal experts as the final authority while enhancing their effectiveness through automated analysis. AI analyzes contracts against standards and historical agreements. System identifies non-standard clauses, risks, and obligations. Legal experts focus review on flagged issues and complex terms. Routine agreements proceed through an expedited review process. Insights from expert reviews improve future analysis capabilities. By handling the initial review of standard language, this approach allows legal experts to focus their attention on substantive issues that require judgment and expertise. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's use cases showcase how Google Cloud's AI can be tailored for fraud detection and regulatory compliance in financial services. Mid-market companies can implement similar contract intelligence by focusing on their highest volume contract types, rather than attempting comprehensive coverage. This targeted approach delivers significant efficiency gains while managing implementation complexity. Getting started. Begin by identifying contract types that create review bottlenecks in your organization. Collect representative samples of these contracts, including variations and non-standard language. Document your current review criteria and risk factors. Implement automated analysis for a single high-volume contract type, monitor outcomes closely, and refine the process before expanding to additional contract types. 13. Market and trend analysis. Business problem solved. Limited market intelligence and slow trend identification. Keeping pace with market changes requires continuous monitoring across multiple sources, creating an information challenge that most organizations address through sporadic research that misses emerging trends and competitive movements. Implementation. Complexity, medium, 3 to 5. This implementation typically utilizes AI-powered market intelligence tools combined with internal data, with complexity varying based on markets monitored and integration requirements. Time to value, 6 to 8 weeks. Initial intelligence gathering benefits appear immediately with more sophisticated trend identification, developing as the system accumulates data over the first 2 months. Key requirements. Defined information sources for market monitoring. Analysis framework for identifying relevant trends. Key indicators and threshold triggers. Integration with knowledge management systems. Process for validating and acting on identified trends. Expected outcomes. 60 to 80% broader information coverage across sources. Earlier identification of relevant market trends. More comprehensive competitive awareness. Reduced surprise from market changes. Data-informed strategic planning and decision-making. Human-centered implementation. This approach enhances strategic thinking by automating information gathering while preserving human interpretation of market implications. AI continuously monitors defined information sources. System identifies patterns, anomalies, and emerging trends. Strategists receive alerts on significant developments with supporting evidence. Human experts validate trends and determine strategic implications. Strategic insights inform business planning and decision-making. By automating the mechanical aspects of market monitoring, this approach allows strategists to focus on interpretation and response planning rather than information gathering. Mid-market application of enterprise success. Google's showcase includes how Prewave uses Google Cloud AI to provide end-to-end supply chain risk and ESG compliance monitoring. Mid-market companies can implement similar market intelligence capabilities by focusing on specific market segments and information sources most relevant to their business rather than attempting comprehensive coverage. This focused approach delivers high-value intelligence without enterprise-level resources. Getting started. Begin by defining the specific markets, competitors, and trend types most relevant to your business strategy. Identify reliable information sources for each market segment. Implement monitoring for high-priority areas first. Establish a process for reviewing and validating identified trends. Then expand coverage as you validate the approach. Decision framework. Selecting the right use cases for your organization. With 15 high-potential use cases across multiple business functions, the next challenge is determining which to prioritize for your specific organization. The following assessment framework will help you identify your highest value opportunities. Assessment questionnaire. For each potential use case, consider the following questions. Organizational readiness. Do we have the necessary data in accessible systems? Do we have clearly defined processes in this area? Is there executive sponsorship for improvement in this function? Do we have subject matter experts who can guide implementation? Pain point evaluation. How significant is the current inefficiency or problem? How frequently does this issue impact our operations? What is the current workaround or solution? How does this challenge affect other business processes? Capability assessment. Do we have existing platforms that support this use case? What additional technology or expertise would we need? Can we implement this primarily with internal resources? How well do our current skills align with implementation requirements? Value potential. What specific metrics would improve with successful implementation? How quickly would we realize measurable benefits? How would this implementation support strategic objectives? What future capabilities would this enable? Using these questions, score each use case on a 1 to 5 scale for readiness, pain point severity, capability fit, and value potential. The use cases with the highest combined scores represent your best starting points. Implementation sequencing. Once you've identified your highest potential use cases, Consider the following sequencing principles. Start with foundation use cases. Begin with implementations that build capabilities for future applications. For example, document processing capabilities developed for finance can later support contract analysis or customer communication. Create momentum with quick wins. Prioritize at least one use case with very low implementation complexity and fast time to value, such as meeting summarization or content generation, to create early success and organizational momentum. Balance functional coverage. Rather than concentrating all early implementations in one department, consider distributing your first 3-5 use cases across different functions to build broader organizational support and capability. Sequence for learning design. Your implementation sequence to build capabilities progressively, with each project creating knowledge that supports subsequent implementations. Common implementation pitfalls. As you move toward implementation, be aware of these common pitfalls. Technological overreach. Attempting to implement advanced capabilities without establishing foundational elements like data accessibility, integration frameworks, or governance processes. Neglecting the human element. Focusing exclusively on technology implementation without adequate attention to training, change management, and process redesign. Insufficient baseline measurement. Failing to establish clear baseline metrics before implementation, making it difficult to demonstrate value and build support for expansion. Inadequate change management. Underestimating the organizational change aspects of AI implementation, particularly the need to address concerns about roles and responsibilities. Fragmented implementation. Pursuing multiple disconnected use cases without an overarching strategy, creating integration challenges and missed synergies. By approaching implementation with awareness of these potential challenges, you can design a more effective adoption strategy that builds capabilities while delivering tangible business value. Conclusion. Moving from possibility to reality. The 15 use cases we've explored represent practical, accessible starting points for mid-market companies looking to move from AI awareness to implementation. Each offers tangible business value while maintaining humans at the center of the process, enhancing rather than replacing the capabilities that make your organization unique. The implementation gap that currently characterizes the mid-market isn't a failure of vision or interest, but rather a natural challenge in translating broad possibilities into specific actions. By focusing on high-value, low-complexity applications that align with your existing capabilities and strategic priorities, you can begin bridging this gap immediately. Key takeaways. As you consider your AI implementation journey, remember these essential principles. Start with targeted, high-value use cases rather than trying to transform everything at once. The most successful AI implementations begin with specific business problems rather than technology for its own sake. Maintain a human-centered approach that preserves your distinctive expertise and judgment. As demonstrated in Google's 101 use cases, the most valuable AI implementations enhance human capabilities rather than attempting to replace them. Measure comprehensively across multiple dimensions. Evaluate not just operational efficiency, but also capability development, human capital enhancement, and strategic advancement. Build progressively toward broader transformation. Each successful implementation creates capabilities, confidence, and momentum that enable more ambitious applications. Preparing for implementation. As you move toward implementing your selected use cases, consider these preparatory steps. Team and leadership alignment. Ensure key stakeholders understand both the potential and the limitations of your initial AI implementations. Set realistic expectations about timelines, resource requirements, and expected outcomes. Technology and data prerequisites. Assess the readiness of your data and technology environment for your priority use cases. Identify any preparatory work needed to ensure accessible, quality data for your implementations. Process documentation. Document current processes that will be enhanced through AI implementation, creating a clear baseline for comparison and improvement. Capability building. Identify skills needed for successful implementation and begin building these capabilities through training, hiring, or partnerships. From awareness to implementation. The journey from AI awareness to meaningful implementation begins with a single step: selecting your first high-impact use case and moving it from concept to reality. By starting with the targeted applications we've explored, you can create immediate value while building the foundation for broader transformation. While Google's showcase of 101 generative AI use cases demonstrates what's possible at enterprise scale, the democratization of AI capabilities means mid-market companies can now implement similar use cases with less complexity and investment. The gap between enterprise and mid-market AI capabilities is narrowing rapidly, creating unprecedented opportunities for organizations of all sizes. In our next article, From Concept to Reality, Implementation Roadmaps for Your First AI Initiatives, we'll provide detailed guidance on turning these use cases into operational reality, from technology selection and team structure to change management and implementation timelines. Until then, we invite you to assess your organization against the use cases we've outlined and identify your highest priority opportunities. The implementation gap is not insurmountable. It simply requires a thoughtful, human-centered approach that begins with clear business value rather than technology for its own sake. This article is part of our AI implementation series. Watch for our upcoming installment. From Concept to Reality, Implementation Roadmaps for Your First AI Initiatives. Here's a little add-on for today's newsletter. Use the prompt below to identify your high-impact, low-complexity use cases right now. Copy prompt below. Act as an AI strategy consultant and help identifying the most valuable AI use cases for my business based on the high-impact, low-complexity framework. About my business. Industry. Insert your industry. Company size, insert number of employees. Current tech platforms. List key platforms like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, CRM, etc. Top business challenges. List 2-3 key challenges you're facing. Departments needing most improvement. List 1-3 departments. AI experience level. Beginner, intermediate, advanced. Please analyze this information and recommend 3 to 5 high-impact, low-complexity AI use cases specifically for my business. For each use case, provide a brief description of the business problem it solves. Implementation complexity rating, 1 to 5. Expected time to value. Key requirements for implementation. Expected outcomes and benefits. A human-centered implementation approach that enhances rather than replaces human capabilities. Practical first steps to get started. Focus on use cases that leverage our existing technology platforms where possible, and prioritize those that deliver value quickly while building foundation capabilities for future AI implementations.